I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.
It's a hammerhead! Yo, Nash! Nash!
What's up, guys? In this video I was thinking maybe I should try something a little different, so I was gonna maybe talk you through a couple of these dives here and see how it goes. So here in this dive, just spotted a few hogfish from the surface and made a dive to check out the size on them. Spotted out the biggest one. He looked nice, so I lined up on him and took the shot. Here on this dive, I spotted a yellowfin grouper, and I watched him duck into this little head here. And I made my dive, approached it slowly, and was just going to check out all the holes and see where I spotted him from. You'll see me here look into this first hole, and I could see him sort of towards the back, but I couldn't get a shot off from this side, so I switched holes here, lined up, and put a nice holding shot in his tail. Here's the back dive I was doing to go retrieve the fish, which actually turned out to be a lot easier than I was thinking it was going to be. But funnily enough, the commotion that I caused from shooting this fish actually brought one in that was a lot bigger. So yeah, when I spotted it, I pointed it out to Nash and I told them to go follow it, and followed it right into this head, and you'll see what happens here. He lands a perfect headshot on it here, and unluckily he was using a thin, kind of weak pole spear, so it didn't penetrate all the way through, and for some reason the tip, I guess it was cheap, it jammed, so it didn't even deploy. But I handed him my pole spear, and I let him do another dive on it, and it sat here. It kind of bled out by the time he breathed up. It was laying there, and he just put a quick shot, and it secured it.
Yes, baby! Let's go! Yes, sir! That is a fucking nice one.
And yet again, the commotion brought in another grouper, and seeing as my pole spear was occupied and his pole spear was kind of bent up and the tip was jammed, I got my brother's pole spear and I went down to put a quick shot in this. I landed a beautiful stone shot on it.
Yes, sir. Little 3-piece.
I can't really speak for what Nash was thinking on these dives, but here he was doing a dive on a big Nassau. This one actually went 22 pounds gutted, which is massive for a Nassau. And unfortunately, he was using a very weak, thin pole spear, and you'll see what happens here. Yeah, that shot didn't penetrate enough to let the tip deploy, and the tip kind of got jammed. So you'll see in the next dive, my brother goes down here, puts a shot in him, and pulls him out. And here again, just a simple little shallow duck dive. There was a couple of hogs. Nash picked out the biggest one, laid down on the bottom, and just waited for the thing to turn, did a couple grunts, and just made his way over to it and put a nice stone shot in it. This is nothing too crazy, just a nice hogfish I spotted off in the distance. Followed him, made a quick little dive on him, and he wouldn't really turn to give me a shot, but I just waited and waited patiently until he turned just a little bit for me to land a good shot on, and he did just that. Here I had spotted a black grouper, and I was kind of just doing a dive to check him out, see what size he looked, and he wasn't too big, so I wasn't that keen on him. I did load up just in case I changed my mind and I got closer to him, but he kind of darted here, and I looked up and I saw a big Nassau, so I decided to switch paths and switch over to the Nassau. And pretty much Nassau's aren't the smartest fish, so I knew I just had to kind of casually make my way over and wait for him to turn his head a little bit, and I got a perfect headshot on him and got him up in one dive. With these big Nassau's, it's kind of key to try and get them up in one dive because they're a pain to get out of these holes. They kind of flare up and lock their gills. It makes them impossible to get out, and with the way that they bleed, the sharks come around and it just turns into a big mess. So it's way easier to just try and do what you can do to get it up in one dive. Here again, spotted another big Nassau from the surface. Watched him kind of poke his lips out of this little hole, and he made a mistake by doing that. So I quickly did a little slow dive down on him, came around the edge and saw him sitting there, and took my shot and did exactly what I just said. Just tried to do whatever I could to get him up in one dive because I knew if he got around that corner, it was just going to be a pain just to get him out, and the sharks would just get all around and it would just be a big mess. So I was lucky to get him out quick.
Whew.
And there we are. Just like I said, it doesn't take too long for these sharks to roll up, especially in this area. It's kind of known to just be littered with sharks, so that's why you got to get them up quick. And you'll see what I mean by that later on in the video, so just stay tuned. But here, yet again, another Nassau. Spotted him from the surface, watched him kind of duck a little under this here ledge. And the boss told me he wanted some Nassau's, so I was going out of my way to shoot most of the ones that I saw this day. And right here you'll see his tail flick a little bit, and I knew he was going to come around this corner, and just quickly lined up and took the shot. And right here was kind of right after Nash had shot a big Nassau in his small hole. So it kind of got stuck, and I had to wrangle it out. It took a while, so the sharks got bad, and Ethan here spotted a Nassau, and I told him I was going to follow him down just in case the sharks got up to him after he hit it. But I guess the fish dodged him a little here, and before he darted off, I just thought I'd load up quick and shoot him while he dealt with his pole spear.
Watch the sharks.
And so here's basically a prime example of leaving a fish in a hole for too long. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the rust. Haven't seen a nice black grouper in a while from being up in college. But I came around the corner here, and I just kind of rushed my shot, and I hit him low. And unfortunately, he tore off and holed up somewhere else. But we spotted him in another hole where he was bleeding out, and I landed a shot in him there as well. But you'll just see how this all plays out in a second. Right here, yeah, you can see him slip under just there, and we spotted exactly where he went. And I made another dive right here to go and put the second shot in him, and he was kind of way back up in there, but I knew I just had to get a shot in him, and we'd figure it out from there on, and you'll see how it plays out here. Right here, I spot his tail way up in the back, so I lined up my shot real quick. Took a little minute to make sure I was lined up properly and placed a good shot in him. Drilled him in the tail, just like up into his gut pretty much, so that tip was lodged in him, and just let him sit there and just let the tip do its thing. And here, yet again, it's not even been 10 minutes since I placed that first shot that tore out in him, and there's already sharks up in the mid-water column all over the bottom. There's probably about 4 or 5 around on this dive. And I was just kind of looking around. This was my first back dive to kind of see how this fish settled up in this hole. And I could tell there was no possible chance from just the way the tip felt. It kind of just felt like it was stuck. So I knew there was no chance I was getting him out of that hole. So I went to go look in the other holes to see where he was at. And from the sand right here, I could tell he was right around that area. So I thought that would be the perfect hole to get him out. And, I just did one more dive just to check from this, just to see if I could do it, but I just knew that tip was just lodged around a corner or something. So, yeah, I made my way over to this side again, because now the sand was clear. I wanted to spot the fish, really get an eye on, what I could do here. And, yeah, I just knew there was no way I was going to either slide the pole spear out of that hole, so I knew I had to put another shot in this fish. And unscrew my brother's injector rod and take the tip off of the spear and pull the fish out of this hole. And just keep in mind, all this blood in the water, the sharks were just racking up. There was probably around 8 or so on us now, just kind of circling, just trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And I kind of probably should not have pulled this thing out. I don't know what I was thinking. My plan was to pull him out and put a stone shot in him real quick. But I whiffed there. He kind of turned to the side and the shot slid off him, and I quickly made another dive and put a stone shot in him. Yeah, you can see the sharks over here. But I told Ethan to go down quick and try and start to unscrew the other side of the injector rod, and that's what I did here. We finally got the injector rod off, and all we had to do was basically go down and grab this fish, and it was cake from there on. But you'll see what happens on my back dive to go and just grab this fish once and for all, man. But yeah, on my next dive, pretty much all I had to do was take the tip off of Toby's spear now that the injector rod was off and grab the fish and go up with it. But this shark came in and he didn't seem like he was budging, and I had nothing to protect myself, so I left. And he got demolished by about 12 sharks.